Okay, I guess we can get started. Can everybody hear me? Or Jim, John?
Yep.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. It looks like we have a few attendees. Good evening, and thank you for attending our public information meeting for the Safety Improvement Project at Buckland Street, Adams Street, Tolland Turnpike intersection. My name is Jeff Lamalva. I'm the town engineer for the town of Manchester. Also with me tonight is John DiBiase, assistant town engineer, and Jim Mayer, traffic engineer. The purpose of this meeting is to provide residents the opportunity to view preliminary designs and offer comments or ask questions about the project. This meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the town's website under the Engineering Division's project page. Public comments will also be accepted until December 29th and can be made via email at pwinfo@manchesterct.gov or by calling 860-647-3158. I'm going to give a very brief background on the project and then turn it over to John to go over the project details. After that, we'll open the meeting up to comments and questions. So basically in 2018, I believe, the town submitted an application for funding to the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation under their local accident reduction program. This program provides federal funding on a competitive basis to towns that can demonstrate on a benefit cost basis the need for particular improvements at locations with high crash history. The intersection at Buckland Street and Tolland Turnpike is one of these locations with a predominant number of rear end crashes relating to the right turn channelizing islands. This project will remove those islands. It will replace the traffic signal along with other pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicular safety improvements. A similar project is currently under construction just up the street at the Buckland Street, Pleasant Valley, Buckland Hills Drive intersection. This project is estimated to cost just over $1 million and is anticipated to be constructed in late 2021 or early 2022. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to John to go over the key features of this project.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen here. And all right, so this is a preliminary plan of the intersection. North is to the right side of the page. So we have Tolland Turnpike coming across from the bottom to the top of the page. We have Adams Street on the left side of the page and Buckland Street on the right-hand side of the page. Zoom in here a little bit. So as Jeff mentioned, the main change out here that'll be most obvious to everybody is the removal of the channelizing islands. There's a channelizing island on each corner today that causes some issues with confusion relating to the control and operation of the intersection. So the goal is to remove these in their entirety. And as part of that, we're able to tighten the intersection up a little bit by bringing out the radius of the right-hand turns closer to the center of the road to improve that. As you're probably aware, we recently did some work on Adams Street. We did some repaving and restriping. Our plan here is to continue the new sidewalk that we had installed to bring that up to the intersection to create some new crossings here on the west side across Tolland Turnpike. The plan is to, again, provide some directional crosswalk ramps and make some revisions to the dividing median islands that are currently out there as well. It'll be a standard traffic signal. The operation will be very similar. However, we'll be adding some of the same features that we have at the sister location. We'll be proposing, again, another flashing right turn arrow to coincide with the right turn movements against the crosswalks. There'll be blank out signs for no turn on red during the periods of time when the pedestrians are crossing with the major movements with the through traffic. And it'll also likely include internal illuminated street name signs to help with better guidance through the intersection. One thing you'll notice is, we're proposing to add bike lanes out here to try and make this corridor more bike friendly. We added bike lanes on Adams Street as part of the paving project, and we're looking to include those lanes in the intersection, providing proper guidance for bicycles crossing in the intersection in the street. Part of the plan on the northeast corner here is to remove, it's currently 3 lanes wide, and what we want to do is reduce that at the intersection to 2 lanes, allow the bikes to transition safely, and to provide a little bit of a buffer in that lane before reaching that first plaza on the right going northbound. That'll keep the double left turning traffic into the center and the leftmost of the through lanes, instead of kind of how everybody sort of spreads out across those 3 lanes today. A couple other notable improvements I will mention is we're looking to add more formal bus stops for the 2 major bus routes that come through on Tolland Turnpike. Taking a moment here for the computer to load. So on the right-hand side of the sheet here, you can see this is Tolland Turnpike heading west towards the plaza and towards the cemetery. What we're proposing to do here is to install a new sidewalk to replace the old asphalt sidewalk that's out here, to provide a full pull-off area for buses, space for the bike lane to transition by, and to provide nice waiting area with bus stops. So buses can pull up, people can safely disembark, make bus route changes if need be, route changes. And then the plan is to continue replace the sidewalk up to the first driveway where it sort of ends today. So this will add a little bit of safety to the intersection as well, provides the opportunity for the bus to fully exit the travel lane. It's very busy through here with crossing traffic, so allow the bus to stop, people to disembark and board the bus safely, and allow space for the bus to then transition back into the travel lane, where today it's partially in the shoulder, partially in the travel lane at times when it does make stops at these bus areas. On the opposite side of Tolland Turnpike, going the other direction, so heading east towards North Main Street, we're looking to propose something similar. It's a little tighter here between the intersection where Adams Street is towards the top of the page and that first driveway into the, I think it's an old gas station there. So again, we want to provide a bus pull-off area, a raised sidewalk area for people to wait, a bus shelter, and then similar to a more urban bikeway, bringing the bike sort of round and keeping out of the line of the bus, as it's really kind of narrow in this area. So it's a little different, but we provide a way for the bike lane to kind of continue safely to the bus stop here. In addition to sort of some of these particular roadway improvements, we're planning to make some minor drainage improvements to adjust catch basins and drainage spots within that area to keep the water out of there. So nothing new or major regarding the drainage is really being proposed, other than to add it in a couple spots where it doesn't exist today in order to kind of improve that in inclement weather. As soon as this sheet loads, so just going back to the overall hoping it would go back to the main top-down view. I'll have to work on that for a minute. But that's pretty much our project in a nutshell at this time. It's pretty straightforward, making the geometric improvements and the signal replacement to improve safety while we're here. We're also going to, as part of our complete streets policy, improve our connectivity for transit with buses and also with pedestrians and bicyclists in this area as well. So I guess with that, we'll just open it up to if anybody has any questions or comments they'd like to share now with us while we're here.
I'd just like to comment that it's great that you're getting rid of those extra right turn dividers, whatever, because they're horrible when you're walking, because you have to cross one and then you cross another one and you just like, oh, there's somebody coming. So thanks for taking that into consideration.
Great, thank you.
I just have one quick question in regards to the shelters. So, adding shelters to the bus stop areas, because currently I don't think there are any.
I didn't quite catch all of that, but the plan is today there are only bus stops that are currently signed. There's really no amenities provided there, and we want to provide a typical standard bus shelter on a concrete pad so that there's a dry place to wait in inclement weather.
That's great. It's definitely needed, so that's great. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thanks. Sorry, I wasn't able to catch that. It was a little garbled.
You might
Maybe
need
try
to
again.
Yeah.
I think you feel free to use the chat if that works a little better. Happy to read that and try and answer your question. And if not, of course, like Jeff mentioned, we're always welcome to comments after the fact. If you'd like to send us an email or call and leave a message, be happy to take feedback that way as well. There we go. Thank you. Question: are you using the existing paved roadway area or cutting back further to widen the streets? So I'll try talking to that one first.
If you could call up that plan and highlight what each color represents, that would help. I think that would show it best.
Okay. If this finally opened, I apologize for my computer. So in the picture here, there's a couple of colors. On the corners, there's a orangish color. That's our concrete and bituminous asphalt sidewalk areas. In the green is part of it is existing roadside area, but part of it closer to where the edge of the new curb will be is actually going to be us removing existing pavement in order to kind of shrink the size of the immediate intersection. So we'll be removing pavement in these areas, putting in curbing, grass seed, dirt, grass seed, and filling grass in here around where some of the new sidewalks is. So on each corner, there's a little bit where we're going to kind of pull that radius closer to the center of the intersection. Benefit of that is it does shorten the crossing distance a little bit for pedestrians. We did design this to accommodate the typical tractor trailer trucks that we get in this area, in addition to the vehicle movements. The general yellowish color that's kind of everywhere else, with the exception, of course, where we're removing those islands that we talked about, is all existing paved area, and we'll ultimately, I think, be resurfacing this area in a limited way in the existing intersection. So in order to kind of accommodate those bike lanes, what we did is we shrank the travel lanes and the turn lanes, shaving about a foot or so off of each one, still within typical design parameters, but a little narrower, which actually helps the speed a little bit in order to get a little additional space to put those bike lanes in without having to really widen the road. We are, however, where those bus stops are, we'll be widening the paved area a little bit in order to accommodate that bus pull-off area. the bus pull-off areas are sized to accommodate the articulated bus, the bendy bus. So they're minimum size as recommended from DOT in order to accommodate that bus, which does run on these routes, and the space it needs in order to accelerate to pull out back into and join traffic on the main road there. So it's a little bit of give and take, but you know, for the most part, to the average person, it'll appear that the road width and the intersection will be very similar, if not a little smaller, as they're driving through there. So I think it'll be a benefit. Jeff, was there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think that covered it, John. The fact where they're, I just wanted to kind of highlight the different areas where we were removing pavement and adding grass, and I think you covered that.
So Barbara said, thank you. Follow-up question, is the project already funded and approved? The project's received commitment from DOT to fund, which is excellent. We're in the process of finalizing the design. We've provided our preliminary plan to them for their feedback. You know, they have to do their own review and make some changes. So we're going to keep proceeding. There'll be a couple more submissions to DOT as required per their design process as part of getting the you know, sort of the grant money for this work. And then we hope to have it out to the public bid soon, later this coming year. Good question. Thanks.
Just one quick question again, sorry, back to the bus shelters. So on one side of the Tolland Turnpike road entering the plaza or corner, there's a railing on that side. Will that get removed for placement of the shelter and then reinstalled?
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to find out where that bus shelter is going to be placed.
Yeah, it will be in the town property, but I wonder if you could zoom in a little bit, John, and show. I believe the rail you're talking about is a split rail fence that is along the property line.
Right.
It should be in front of that, but we'll call up the plan here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that split railing fence is near the old driveways. I don't, well, before my time, I don't remember if it was like a gas station or something, but I recall seeing that, and I think it was kind of sort of close off that, the old access to it.
John, could you explain what the street line is, that dashed line?
So this is what we're looking at. This is southbound on Buckland Street, approaching Tolland Turnpike. And then sort of on the left side here is Tolland Turnpike heading west towards Chapel Road. There's a black dashed line. It's got longer dashes and these two shorter dashes, and sort of here, and then there's a hard angle, and then it kind of heads this way, if you can follow my mouse. That's the street line, the property line. So everything sort of on the colorful side of the plan sheet is on in the town's right of way area that we control, and everything on the other side, sort of to the the upper corner here, the paper is all private property. I believe it's part of the shopping plaza. So we're able to make these changes within our right of way on this side.
Can you zoom up to the bus shelter? Yeah.
So over here, where this where this area is, where the sort of the pad is, so you could load from front and back of the bus, and then where the extended pad for the shelter will be, in order to have sort of this clear path along the sidewalk. It's sort of near where on our side of the property line, near where the parking lot is currently paved in that plaza. So as you're approaching their first driveway, there's a big parking area here. As you were to pull in the plaza on the right, this is sort of that corner of the parking lot. It might be a little easier to point out on Google Maps here. So I believe if you're able to see this, sort of like in the center of my screen here, there's a big blob of asphalt. I believe this is one of those split rail fences, and I believe this is on the private, maybe on the private property. Yeah. And then over here in the upper left of my window, here's that parking lot that I was mentioning. And so the bus stop area will be kind of just past that, the shadow of this utility pole that you can see, just left of center. So if I go back to the plan, these double lines is that corner of the parking lot of the plaza that I was just showing. So, so we'll take a look. Actually, you know what? It looks like right here is that split rail fence. So if the split rail fence isn't in good condition, it actually looks like it is on our side. You know, that's something that we'll take care of as part of the project to clean it up. This particular area should be generally fairly flat. So there shouldn't be a need for fencing behind the sidewalk, but if, you know, we'll evaluate it. If there's a need, then we'll definitely look to install that. The bus shelters, believe there's some utility poles here nearby that I believe have illumination on them, so there'll be typical roadway lighting in the area of the bus stops. And then I believe as part of the replacing the traffic signal, we'll be looking at adding any additional illumination at the immediate intersection that you know, may, if possible, could be incorporated into the signal poles themselves as well, which I'm sure you've probably seen driving around in other locations. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very, very much. And it's good to know that we'll be adding additional lighting in that area, because there is adding the bus shelter. It's good to have additional lighting. So thank you.
Okay, thanks. No, I appreciate the feedback. We'll take, as we kind of develop the project, we'll take a closer look at the lighting to make sure. I believe it's been a little bit, well, I know it's dark now. It's been a little bit since I've been out there at night, and you know, I could understand it, you know, being by the plaza, being pretty sort of dark in that corner of it. So we'll take a look at it and see what we can incorporate. It's good point.
Yeah. There is currently a pole there. I think it's like 50,000 aluminum light, but I think that's the only thing that's there. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I just added the email and the phone to the chat just in case. If anybody, if you know of anyone else who couldn't attend tonight or whatever, if you wanted to give them that, it's also in the ad. They could also comment or ask questions. Are there any other questions or comments tonight? No? Well, in that case, I thank you for attending our meeting. Thank you for the comments. And we look forward to a successful project next year. And if you get off this meeting and happen to remember a question or comment again, we'll take comments for 14 days, but we're here to answer questions pretty much anytime. So if in a few months you have a question about the project, feel free to ask us and we'll get back to you. Again, thank you very much for attending.